Continuing on from Gamesmaster magazine from August of 1999, we're now still stuck on the review section. And there you go, folks, August of 1999. So what we've got here is another publication from Future Publishing, PC Gamer, Card Wars. Which 3D card game is best for you? We test a lot. Turn to page 66. There's probably a reference to Pokemon for that. Never played. Over 25 pages of reviews: Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, Descent 3, Disco World, Nora, Need for Speed, Road Challenge, Ultimina Online, The Second Age, Breakneck, and much more. Turn to page 79. £5 off any top PC game for every reader. Could you actually physically buy a PC game now at the shops? Possibly not. Outcast, world exclusive review. Original Sin, meet the biggest, boldest game you'll ever play. Tipped, The Phantom Menace, Baldur's Gate, TOCS, Alien vs Predator. I think that's racing game. First play Driver, Belt Up is the greatest car chase ever. 2 discs, 18 great demos. August issue on sale Wednesday the 7th of July. So yes, you actually got demo discs with the PC gaming, and also you got demo discs with the original with the official UK PlayStation magazine as well. Right, so what we got here is Get Bass fishing game. Data, format review, Dreamcast, publisher Sega. Date, now Japan. Call, telephone number, price £80 with rod. Yes, he did have a peripheral. Players 1, developer Sega, other formats arcade, and it's on the Dreamcast, and it's Robin Allway. Pull your wanders on. We're going to angle on the Dreamcast, and deemed you come too. Okay, let's go. Let's fish. Get past. We know what you're thinking. Fishing is a sport for old men with fridges full of maggots and permanently mackled hand endeavour. Odor, who'd rather poo in a carrier bag than leave their rod. Quite cleverly, a terrible business. Quite clearly, I should say. We used to be on the same opinion, but when before Get Bass showed up us the fun to be had dragging the slimy devils from their peaceful subaquatic realm, allow us to convince you. The gameplay. Unless you're familiar with Sega Model 3 co-op, this is a near perfect port. It's safe to say you've never played anything like Get Bass. Gripping the vibrating tilt-sensitive rod controller specially made for your game, you choose your lure and cast your line into a variety of picturesque lakes. The camera then sinks underwater with your hook. By carefully reeling and jiggling on the rod, you can enhance one of the scaly massives to make a bite. Fish, cries the commentator, setting into motion a tremendous landscape sequence that sees you reeling in a madman, while assuring the line doesn't snap as you drag your catch towards a lung full of killer air, all accompanied by a sort of heavy grifted rifting that sounds like Motorhead are playing in the back of your boat. Fantastic. Fish, as well as the wrist-knackering excitement of the reeling something in, actually trying to get a bite is surprisingly involving. Play the hardcore consumer mode, and there's a fathomless of depth to be selecting the correct lure for the weather conditions and the size of the catch, and much more importantly, making it move through the water correctly to fool the fish. The precise AI also makes for the brilliant intense moments as 8,000 G monster bass glides into view. Looking at your lure, decides that it's not worth taking a bite off and then swims away. Next time, and you'll be mind fishy. Different. Of course, graphics are great, but great bass real strength comes from the uniqueness and the way you never know what size of fish your next cast will catch. As such, the game is a variant step round the face with a red C-beam for the jaded gamer. So basically, it had a peripheral where you kind of like rolled in the reel. I also found out on TikTok that there was a peripheral for a karaoke type device, which I would never even come across. And I don't think it was only for Japan only, although it might have been. Get something to take a bite for this game, cries Fish at the top of its voice. Fantasy Fish. Gate Bass arcade mode is top fun, but far too easy thanks to a limited supply of continues. For long-term play, you want to tackle the consumer mode, a much longer and difficult angling competition against the fishing masters. Select your casting point where the fish are plentiful and give a swish of a rod to start fishing. You are given an unlimited amount of time to mass a trophy-winning catch. Look at the size of that beauty. Consumer mode makes you fish each location in different weather conditions. Get a bite and the rod controller shakes violently as you reel it in. You can also see how bigger fish have grown so large by not taking the bait. They almost laugh at your lures. Fishy Flirt. Getting the bigger bass to bite to require plenty of skill and strategy, both in choosing the right lure and then making it look like something they eat carefully by reeling. Okay. Some lures float on the surface, tempting the fish from the depths. The standard shallow crank needs to jiggle a little like a sick black to work. Stickleback. I have no idea what that is. And then we've got Judgment. Presentation. Lovely settings, dazzling water effects, and some truly beautiful fish taken into the depths. Gameplay. Simply but exciting fish catching that feels differently to anything you played before. Lifespan. The arcade mode is too short, but the consumer mode requires a dedicated knowledge of lures. The best bit, tempting the 8000G super bass to take a bite of being able to reel a living in. The worst bit, a disappointingly small catch is hardly worth all the effort of hauling it in. Well, engrossingly different from anything we've ever played, Get Bass will convince your fishing is good. We demand a UK release. 80%. Unless you are willing to hunt down one of the NES fish 'em ups, it's either this or the real thing. So yeah, never played it. So in the late 90s, there wasn't much innovation regarding gaming itself. I mean, it wasn't like the Nintendo Switch, where the Nintendo Switch was basically put in a piece of cardboard. It was just basically a disc controller and cables connecting to a TV. It's not really changed much since then. However, this was unusual, and like I said, you had the lure which you would reel in. Boxed lures from the Dreamcast era would be going for quite some good money now. I always say, if Sega ever released a miniature version of the Dreamcast console, I think it would do rather well. Anyway, that's my review of Get Bass Fishing for the Dreamcast. Much obliged, and I'll see you in the next video.